Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back. We've made it to episode 60. You guys are currently watching, all two of you who are currently watching, episode 60 of Meet the Critters podcast. And I don't know how. I'm Kyle.
And I'm Joe.
And we're in for a fun one, kids. We have the corn star of TikTok, Mike from Sweetbriar Farms. Mike, how the hell are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Good.
We're having fun.
I don't have any corn in my teeth, do I?
No, not right now. I assume there's one in your pocket, though.
I have to say, I've been following Mike on YouTube for, gosh, how long have you had a YouTube channel, Mike?
I think we've been on there for just about 4 years.
I was going to say it's got to be 3 or 4 years I've been following you guys on YouTube. But it's a big difference from your YouTube channel to your TikTok content. It is.
Well, that's what's crazy.
My wife
before we were
doesn't
talking,
monitor me on TikTok, so
There you go.
there it is. Well, that's what's funny. It was like I had kind of figured out he had a YouTube, but again, I've been out of the YouTube game for a bit. So when I was setting this up, I was like, oh, I'll go get his YouTube and subscribe to his channel. I was like, oh damn, Mike's got some stuff going on over here on YouTube.
Yeah. I started following him because the pig breeding operation and the Dexter cattle, because I was interested in getting into the Dexter cows. Years ago, I started out with a breeding pair. That was my first 2 original cows, and I just didn't have enough space for them and transitioned out, and I just happened to build my herd that I have now off of
Whatever.
pretty much free cows. I mean, really, that's the only reason I don't have something different.
Well, Mike, for those who don't know who you are, tell us a little about yourself.
yeah. I'm Mike Pressler, and I'm a owner-operator of Sweetbriar Farm along with my wife. We're in West Branch, Michigan. And like you guys are saying, we have Dexter cattle. Says it on my hat here. They're the one of the world's smallest standard breeds, and we have, I think I counted the other day, about 27 head, about 8 calves, and then we have some steers and then breeding stock. We also have Nubian goats and honeybees. We did get out of raising pigs this year. We had Herefords and Berkshires and Mangalitsa's, and got rid of those. And my life is a lot happier now. So
I'm sure it is.
and like you said, I am the TikTok corn star. At least you guys think I am. But
this vein of where your TikToks currently are just kills me. Every time I see you pop up, I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be great.
Well, our buddy Farmer Fran, he said that, I'm the most underrated on TikTok. So,
oh my God, he said that to you too? Oh my God, he's cheating on me.
He uses the same line on everyone.
Yeah, it sounds
Jesus
like
Christ. No, yeah, it's crazy because kind of like Joe said, content on different platforms can be so drastically different. I always try to keep my YouTube videos somewhat funny, or when I was doing them. I did post one today, so if you go on my YouTube today, there is a new video. But I usually try to keep a good sense of humor with it. But then TikTok, I am off the reservation. God only knows what's happening on that app.
Yeah, that's what makes it fun. Yeah,
It
it is a lot
really
different.
is.
I mean, with Facebook and TikTok and then YouTube, it's crazy. I think since January of this year, across all platforms, we've had over 30 million views of our content. So
That's awesome.
Nice.
That's
crazy.
really awesome. So how did you get started into farming content? Did it all happen at the same time, or have you been farming for longer before? Are you first generation?
So I am first generation. I grew up working for a cattle farmer, baling hay, feeding calves, you name it.
Right.
And then went to school, met my wife, and then we kind of got back into it back in 2009 after we bought our first house. So started with, homesteading, chickens and gardening and stuff like that. And then it wasn't really until about 5 years ago when we started getting to the larger breed livestock. But as far as like developing online content, I watch a lot of YouTube, and with the smart TV, it's just like watching TV, and
Right.
really good channels out there, educational and whatnot. And I was watching a channel one morning, and the guy had just posted something like 2 hours before, and he had 70,000 views, and I'm sitting there watching this guy cut 2x4s, and I'm like, I can do this. I can cut 2x4s.
Yeah, you had the same reaction that every single person has of like, if this stupid video can get 70,000 likes, I can do something so much better, and it'll get 117 views.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly it. And it's you really have to be dedicated and stick with it, and still, like, it goes up and down as far as our content views. We've had some huge videos, and I posted a TikTok today,
Right.
our 1 million of our 3 million long form views on YouTube have to do with animal breeding. So it's like, is it weird people recording this stuff, or is it weird people watching it? So
I think in that, because I've thought about that as well, because like slaughter videos for me always do way better than like actually educate. Like, I try to keep the slaughters educational, but it's like there's something about it that just mesmerizes people, that it's like the breakdown stuff or the farm stuff does okay, but you put up a slaughter video, you're getting some good views on it, at least for me, like for the level I'm at.
Yeah, for us, it's definitely been the educational stuff overall. All about Nubian goats, all about Dexter cattle. How big are Dexter cattle? Searchable content like that has really done well.
Right.
But then, like, homestead update, farm update, 100 views, whatever. So you get the dedicated audience that will watch anything, and then it's like the 100,000 views that is searchable, or just pops
Right.
up and it has a flashy thumbnail. And sometimes this is like, why did this video take off? But and then you'll have a video that everything looks good, subscriber counts going up, views are going up, thumbs are going up, and then it's like flatlines, like YouTube shuts it off and they flatline. And it's really frustrating for that. And that's kind of why I kind of switched over to TikTok and said, well, I'm going to do some TikTok for a while, and let's see if I can get 10,000 subscribers this year. And took about 6-7 months, but I did it. Actually, I got 10,000 before YouTube. YouTube was the last one, so
Nice.
Whatever happens from there, I don't really care. That was just kind of a goal. So.
Right. Yeah. It's crazy. And like, we were chatting a little bit before this, and you were talking about, it's like, yeah, you hit 10,000, now your views tanked. And it's like, we've talked about that a little bit on here, and every single person who listens every week just literally went, ugh. But like, I am under the conspiracy theory that it's like, as soon as you hit 10,000, they did that thing where it was like, oh, let's all follow each other and help each other get to 10,000. All of a sudden, saturated the rewards program. And if you're not in that top % of people who's making money, like, we're just going to block your views, because we can't afford to actually pay all these people for the views they should be getting.
Yeah, that totally could be, or just a algorithm change.
Right?
Can they continue? I don't know.
Because
a lot of the videos I post anyway are under a minute and don't qualify for monetization. Right. Anyway, I think I've had one video since 10,000, maybe a couple, but one video over a minute get like 1,800 views. So
right,
I don't really care. I just do it for fun.
Exactly. And it's like, that's because I did like a little experiment with it, where it was like, I realized my views were down when I was like originally in the program. Because when I first started, like, I literally got in the program, and then the next day I did that stupid goldfish video that I think is currently at like 2.2 million or something stupid, and made like a good chunk of change off that video. So then I just got the bug for it and was like, all right, I can do this. Oh, by the way, we're going to put all your videos at 300 views for the foreseeable future. It's like, oh my God, I've invested everything. But no, so then I opted out. Within 2 days, all of my videos started doing normal numbers, like high fives to 1,000. And then all of a sudden, within like probably 4 or 5 days, I had multiple videos like up over 15,000 views. And it was like, all right, now let me opt back in. Opted back in. All my videos tanked right to 300 views. Opted back out 2 days ago. And I have a random throwaway video that was just a fill poster that's at like 3,000. And it's like, okay, what are we doing here, kids? Like, but at the end of the day,
I'm not even close to touching any of that, so
yeah, no,
it doesn't affect me at all.
You're still baby. You're still baby on TikTok.
Yeah.
We'll get
well, even on YouTube right now I am, but I haven't had time to put content out. I mean, with the butcher shop and trying to keep up with the farm, I'm like, content's like if I get a second to do something with it.
I was thinking about it today because I knew Mike was coming on, and I was thinking about like all the different content we do and things like that. And there are so many different categories, even in like the farm talk area that we're all in. There are like only a real handful of different categories those people fit in. And it's really like educational, silly goose, or like hate. Like those are the 3 different categories you have. Either you're going to come on and be like, everything sucks, this is all awful, which we do every single podcast, but still, like this all sucks, this is why this sucks, this is that. Then there's the people that's like, this is why we're doing this. If we're doing this, do this, it's going to help grow our pastures back, this, that, and the other thing. And then there's like, I consider me and Sweetbriar in the silly goose category, where it's like, we're going to put out some informational stuff, but that's few and far between. Everything else is just going to be absolute nonsense. I am probably on the darker side of that scale than Mike, but like
I really try not to I don't know, make content that will get negative feedback, I guess, if that makes sense.
Right.
And like our buddy Zach down in whatever hellhole state he's in, he gets crap from all kinds of people, and like, we have about the same amount of followers on TikTok. Like, how do you generate so much negativity? It's like
I'm just sitting here begging for the negativity. I'm like, bring it, please bring it, because that's just more content for me. That's it's an thing.
Well, at least I have like I'm the same as you, Mike. Like I'm more on the educational side. I haven't gotten into like the funny TikToks. I probably could do it. I'm just not there yet. I'm still learning, playing with it, trying to put out some educational stuff, little video clips of the shop. Someday when I actually have a little bit of free time, I can actually get in and start playing with editing more. But like Kyle said earlier, I'm literally cutting it like 30 seconds. I'm logging in, getting on here, trying to find all my crap laying around because I work 7 days a week right now, trying to keep everything running. And I'd say running smoothly, but that ain't the case. You get brand new shop, brand new business. The farm animals are getting loose because fences haven't been maintained in, over a year now. So it's just chaos every day.
That's the fun thing about farming. Nothing's ever running smoothly. It's always running like how Goofy and Mickey Mouse is just like, he's always running, but he's always tripping and sliding on a banana peel or like tripping over a fence. He's still moving. He's going. He's going to get back up. He's going to get where he's going. But
I didn't even think about it.
When you have the camera rolling all the time too, the funny stuff happens. Like,
oh yeah,
I saved video for over a year of me smashing my head, and then I have all this content to play with now. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
yesterday. I wish I would have thought about it. I grazed the 20 acres next door. Well, it's probably closer to 15 minus his yard and everything. And he doesn't want permanent fencing over there because they ride 4-wheelers and they hunt and stuff. Completely understandable. It's all poly wire. Well, when I moved my cows down to the bottom, the lower end of the pastures, there's, I don't know, 10 acres in between my property and the lower end of his property. No fence, nothing at all. I've talked about it before. I don't know anybody that can move a whole herd of cows across wide open ground and get them to go right in where they're supposed to every time. I've never, knock on wood, every time. Well, my stepbrother Logan, he's moving back out here, and had some stuff he brought this weekend, and he was helping me move cows. He's never experienced that before. He got a little scared, and he's running. My cows aren't used to him. They're chasing him down. Like my Jersey cow, I thought for sure she was taking him out, and I was running in front of the cows because they're going to new pasture. You know, they're happy, they're kicking, they're running. Well, he didn't know what was going on, so he's running full bore. I wish I would have got that on camera. It would have been hilarious. I look back, his eyes are like this big, and he's like full-blown running, screaming, because he thinks the cows are going to run him over.
Yeah. The funniest stuff happens when, like, we're on camera so much, or at least I know I am. Like, I'm on camera so much at this point that it's like the funniest things happen when the camera's off. And that's what's so frustrating, because it's like, I'm on camera so goddamn much filming bullshit. And the one time that this would have been like perfect, I have the camera in my pocket. It's like, come on.
Or somebody else is recording and the camera's pointed in the other direction. Did you get that?
Or it's like the one thing you actually wanted. You got it on camera, but it's framed all the way up in the corner of what you were trying. It's like, what are we doing, kids? Like, we've had iPhones for a long time now. You should know how to take a picture or like do a video. Yeah, it's pretty nuts. It's pretty nuts to think about, like, again, looking back, because I've only been doing this for like a year and a half. And it's like to think back to like 3 years ago and be like, you'll have almost 200 videos on TikTok or on YouTube, and God knows how many videos on TikTok. You've been on camera for, people have literally watched you for days at this point, hours wise. It'd be like,
it's years and years.
Or year, yeah, exactly, years.
It's crazy when you actually do the math. Like, yeah, it's I've done it. I can't remember over 12 years. That was last year at 2 million views. But yeah, it's nuts.
It's crazy. So why Dexter's?
So we have a very small farm. I mean, when we first wanted to get cattle, we bought like 2, Jersey Angus steers or whatever, a Hereford, and yeah, they were fine, but we weren't really set up for it at the time, and we butchered them and did some more research and thought the Dexters would fit us well just because they're smaller and they do well in poor pasture, and when I mean do well, they marble just the meat, marble's just nice on grass alone. But the bulls are docile. I mean, very easy to work with for the most part, minus our first bull. He was a little bit crazy, but yeah, they're small. It's definitely a niche breed. But the people that want Dexters and want the genetics that we have, you get good money for the calves. We'll sell 5-month-old weaned calves here next month, anywhere from $1,800 to $2,500 for a calf just at weaning. And we're not taking them to sale barn and selling them by weight. If we sold them by weight, would be $500-600. So
yeah, I kick myself sometimes because I've been up at the local auction barn I don't go very often, but there's been a couple times I've been there. Nice looking Dexter cows, nothing wrong with it. I mean, sometimes you get going to the auction, you don't know what you're getting, but they were nice looking cows. I've been around cows for 16, 17 years now, like steady. And they went for like 20 cents a pound or something like that. They just don't do well around here. It was nuts. Like, they were nice. A couple of the cows came through bred. I think they picked 30 cents a pound. It was like a couple $100 for these cows.
Yeah.
I could have built a Dexter herd right out of the auction for probably what I have in my herd right now.
Yeah, doing the math.
What kind of hang weight are you looking at with those?
Ours have been anywhere from, and I can explain why, 320 pounds to 500 pounds for a 2-year-old steer.
Yeah, for a smaller breed.
Pretty good.
What I would expect, yeah.
And what we found with our like beef customers anyway is, usually it's, a husband and wife, they don't have a big family, or maybe they just have, 2 kids or something like that. A steak, a ribeye is the size of your hand. It's not like a, big Angus steak that's,
right,
huge, bigger than your head.
Yeah.
And you really don't need much more meat than that for a meal. So you're not wasting, you're not necessarily wasting, but having leftovers or whatever with the Dexter cuts. But I mean, any farm raised beef is better than grocery store, but
yeah.
The Dexter beef is some of the best I've ever had. I mean, it's
Nice.
Absolutely fantastic.
But so what are your winners like up there? Because I'm thinking about, we got out of beef just because where I'm at, it's just not cost effective. It's not cost effective to have like a small herd of cows if you don't have hang equipment. It's just not worth it unless you scale it up and make it work it. But I've thought about, I have a customer that I work with. She raises low-line Angus, which again, similar hang weights to what you're kind of talking about there, from like 300 to 500, right around there. Marble out great. And it's one of those things where it's like, we only have 6 months of like an actual growing season before we're in a frozen tundra. And it's like, maybe those smaller breeds would do a little bit better, where it's like, yeah, it still might be a 20-month grow out, but you have a fully formed marbled cow instead of getting a full-size Hereford or something like that, where it's like you're going 24 months and then you're still only going to get it to about 650, possibly 700.
Yeah, there's no way I could have the number of cows that I do now if I was running Angus or Herefords. Our winters are, I mean, is it very similar to your, you might get colder, depending on where you're at in the winter, but yeah, we're 6 months, you're, dormant grasses. So we buy all our hay. I'm not going to buy land and buy equipment, and grow up with a farming family. So I buy my hay, and I run on very little pasture. So I throw them some grain in the morning, and they eat hay in the summertime, and they do just fine. But like I said, if I was running Angus or something like that, I'd be heavily graining them, and
right.
I wouldn't have the same quality product that I do produce.
Yeah. They need those extra calories. They need them. Yeah. They're a bigger animal. Mm-hmm. So, all right, I'll look into Dexter, because at this point, again, I have such a close relationship with this customer, and her beef is so nice that I'm like, all right, whenever it comes to it, more than likely, I'll probably just end up getting into low lines. And even at that point, I don't even know if I'm going to do like cow calves. I might just buy yearlings and just be like, we're just going to feed these guys out for the next 9 months and move on with our lives.
Yeah. The guy that bought my Dexters, he actually he has Dexters and he has lowline Angus, and he's got crosses of the two. And he said that with the genetics that he had in the Dexters, he started out crossing with the lowlines to build more muscle capacity and shorten the grow time on them. And they're nice looking animals. I wouldn't be opposed. Like, I've been contemplating downsizing my cows. Like, I really want to, in the next couple of years, try to get a shorter bull. I don't know if I'm going to go with a Dexter, low line, something, even a South Pole. No. That's like literally running my genetics into the dumpster. That's how I feel about it.
I know. I just wanted to see that reaction for a minute because it wasn't brought up directly to me. Because usually I can't control myself and I just go, stupid horny bastards.
Yep.
I just wrote myself a note. We have a Jersey cow that we have just for milking, and we brought her to our Dexter bull. And the cross between the Jersey Dexter is they're commonly called a Belfair. And I was just doing a size comparison. If you're on Facebook, I post pictures and stuff on Facebook on our farm page, Sweet Briar Farm. But we have a 8-month-old heifer Dexter she was born the day after Thanksgiving last year, and then we have a 4-month-old Belfair bull calf. They're the same size. I mean, this little bull calf, and we just steered them the other day. I was taking pictures comparing them. That cross between the Jersey and Dexter I think is going to be a really good cross for speeding the meat production, even though we just have one. But then the heifers that will produce will have some in between amount of milk production between a Jersey and a Dexter. So
so we have.
Oh, go ahead.
We have dairy cattle also, and that's what I'm looking at is I don't necessarily need as much because I've got a purebred Jersey and I've got a milking shorthorn. And when both of those cows are in milk and I'm actually milking, like I'm hoping to get back into it in the spring, I'm getting upwards of 10, 12 gallons on grass-fed diet from the two and calf sharing. I don't necessarily need that much milk. It's nice because we feed it back to the pigs because I've got some pigs. We're going to get back into doing some pasture pork next year on a small scale. I'm not going to do like I was before, just kind of slowly grow back into it and see how it goes. But still, 10 gallons a day, we only can utilize so much. Yeah, you got to have a fair amount of feeder pigs without putting too much milk to the pigs and getting that greasy, fat, like stringy meat to them. So it's a balancing game. And I always thought that crossing the Dexter on them and raising that heifer would bring down the milk production, but it would bring it up from what a Dexter has. Because I've watched a lot, and if you get the right Dexter genetics and get a couple gallons a day, that's pretty good, but you got to have the right genetics to get that, to where most Dexter breeders, I feel, have gone with the beef side of the genetics. For the most part, there was actually one local farm here in West New York. I think they moved down to Florida now, but they actually had a small micro dairy that it was all Dexters. But to find those genetics, you're searching for them. So if you can outcross that with the Jersey, bring the milk production up in the Dexter, body capacity down a little bit from the Jersey, you're getting from all the research I've done on those Belfair cattle, everybody seems to really like them.
Well, it's like Canadian Farmstead nailed it here. He kind of nailed what I was going to say with the hybrid vigor and stuff like that. I think like homesteads and like small herds and things like that, people need to be crossing meat and dairy, especially if like we have 2 small kids and only one of them drinks milk at this point, and I promised myself I would never do dairy. So it's one of those things like we've had some Holsteins here, we've had some Jerseys here and stuff like that. And they were crossed with a Hereford bull. And it's like when you're raising them out like that, these things get so chunky so quick because they're just getting all the milk they possibly can out of this dairy cow. Whereas, again, like the normal meat breeds, they're still going to get as much milk as they need from the mom. But it's like all the excess off those dairies, and they just grow so much bigger, so much faster, especially going into winter. Oh, like if you have a small homestead, don't get trapped in I only need Herefords, I only need this. Go for the mutts. Absolutely 100% go for the mutts. Be somewhat like, you don't want a total mutt, but like you want to know what's in there. Because if you've got something that's like Holstein Hereford, like, or basically cross Holstein with just about anything, same with Jersey, and you're going to end up with a decent looking animal.
Yeah, it's funny.
Go ahead.
It's funny, like, when we're finished milking our Jersey, we take her back and throw her in with the calves and the rest of the cows. There's like a lineup from these calves at
Oh,
her,
yeah.
and she lets all the calves nurse on her. I mean, it's not that their moms aren't producing enough milk. It's just I don't know. It's probably tastes better because
It's right.
it's Jersey.
Higher butterfat. Yeah.
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 No, my milk and Shorthorn's the same way. She will not wean calves. And if I take her calf away, she'll go out to the pasture and just start letting the other calves nurse. When I want to separate to milk her, I have to put her in the stall and lock her up so I can get milk out of her. Hand milk's awesome, but I do have to give her a shot of oxytocin because she will not drop milk. She's a nurse cow all day long. Hand milks beautifully. Like stands there, I can milk her out in the middle of the pasture. Throw a little bit of alfalfa pellets or grain on the ground, whatever I'm feeding her at the time, or in a dish on the ground. Sit right out in the middle of the pasture on a bucket, and she'll stand there. Jersey cow, on the other hand, no way. She's got to be in the milk stanchion. She's got to have the kicker bar on her. But she lets her milk down, and she's got great quality milk. That's why I still have her. So when I mix the two milk, like when I'm milking both of them at the same time, I just mix it all together in the jars as I'm filtering it. And the milk's great, but having a nurse cow on the farm is worth their weight in gold anyway. Yeah. You get a cow that for some reason doesn't produce milk, doesn't get sick and dies, or she just gets sick and you have to dry her up. You get a nice nurse cow that you can kind of wean that calf off onto. Saves you a ton of labor and bottle calves and everything. And I figured it out. I can raise minimum two calves per lactation on each one of my dairy cows. My Jersey will take calves. She's just a little bit harder I actually have to physically take her in the barn and graft them on for a couple weeks, and then she'll take care of them. But still, if I did an extended lactation on those cows and I raised 3 calves per cow versus the 1 calf my beef cows are actually raising, it makes them pay for themselves a lot faster. It makes it worth feeding them, I feel.
Yeah, going back to what Kyle said about like the hybrid vigor and like homesteaders, if going for the crosses, I do agree, especially if you're just doing feeder animals or just having one milk cow. We've tried like registered Berkshire pigs and stuff like that, and just had terrible luck farrowing and stuff like that. Joe, if you've followed our YouTube for a while, you probably saw the disasters we've had with Berkshires, but yeah, like as far as getting into a breeding program, we always say if you're gonna sell heifer calves or bull calves, we always recommend starting with a registered stock for the Dexters anyway.
Right.
The Angus world, Hereford world of cattle is just it's totally different than Dexter. I mean, Dexter is definitely a niche breed built for homesteads, and if you just want 1.5 gallons of milk a day, a Dexter is perfect if you can find one. Not crazy milk.
Yeah. I mean, I've talked to quite a few people that tried milking their Dexters that they just bought, and even if they get them trained down to be able to milk, they have that tendency of holding their milk back for their calf. So you might go in there and you're fighting this thing for half hour and you come out with a pint or a quart of milk and you feel defeated. You might as well just stick with goats at that point.
Yeah.
And I don't know how your guys' Nubians produce, but some of my Nubian lines, they'll put out almost 2 gallons a day if I really, feed them right and push them if I wanted to.
That's crazy.
We did a series last summer of training a Dexter milk cow, and it was like 4 or 5 videos, I can't remember, but it was one of some of our best production on the channel because it's educational, and then it really shows us struggling with this cow we were training, and basically at the end, we got I think 3/4 gallon, and she was holding their milk back for the calf, and we did get a little bit of cream line that next morning it formed, but then at the end of the video, my wife's hand milking her Nubian goat, and a gallon and a half a day she would get from this one.
Yeah.
And she probably can't hear me, but was probably even more if she did twice a day milking with the one goat that she's got. So
we've got 2 or 3 goats that would put out that, like the original stock I started with. These are daughters from them. When I was on my small property, the 4 acres, that's when I started following you guys, because I was trying to get into Dexter's. I had the Nubian goats. I had a few other breeds over the years. But Nubians are by far my favorite dairy goat breed. They're loud and obnoxious, but the milk quality versus Nigerian, I still feel has the best quality milk, like the best flavor. But when you're milking 12 Nigerian dwarfs to get the same amount as 2 or 3 full-size Nubians, it's just dumb, like to me, to do that. And don't get me wrong, goats are goats, and Kyle feels the same. Like some days you're like, I don't know why I bother. This is you get so frustrated. Like I started crossing my Nubians with boars just because I don't need to grow my dairy herd any farther than it is right now. I've got the dairy cows and stuff, and I'm trying to build up that meat herd now, having the butcher shop. If I can get into having a little bit of supply and I can start getting into the right contacts up in the cities, it might actually make the goats profitable for once, it seems like. Because here in New York, we have to file for a raw milk license, and you have to go through a lot of stuff and spend a decent amount of money to be able to sell the raw milk. Now, I would like to do that someday if it ever came about, because between the cows and the goats, if I got it, I have enough customer base where it's a steady weekly income and you can stagger breedings and stuff. But it's just getting to that point. It's like, is it worth it, or do I just keep doing it for myself?
So, keep doing it for yourself.
Yeah, keep doing it.
I mean, there's a lot in here. I mean, New York just kind of knows how I feel about New York State.
Oh yeah. The internet knows. I'm pretty sure New York knows. Someone in New York who should know knows how you feel about New York. There's a list.
I don't even care.
Here we can do herd shares, which is an agreement between us and a customer. Basically, we're claiming that they own part of the animal, and we're doing them the favor of milking. So those are completely legal here in Michigan, but in order to get farm insurance, we can't do it. Our insurance company found out we were doing herd shares a couple years ago, and they said, you have to stop or we're going to drop your policy. So we had to stop.
Yeah.
Or did we?
And that's the thing, is like, they're one way or another, they're trying to find new little tricks to control us as small farmers, either pricing us out, insurances. Same thing with here in New York. I don't know how it is in other states, but here in New York, if you heat with a wood stove and you have it in your house, there's only a couple insurance companies left that will cover you.
Yeah. And
in our position, we have a mortgage, which requires us to have homeowners insurance. So it's like, and we have propane heat out here. We don't have natural gas in where we're at. And it costs us, our house is 1,000 square feet. And depending on how hard the winter is, I mean, we get hit pretty hard coming off Lake Erie, coming across, the winds coming across. Some of our heating bills has been upwards of $600 or $700 a month.
Right. So
I have tons of firewood I get for free all the time, but then you don't have insurance. So then you're voiding your contract on your homeowners. So.
Yeah, I had a wood burner in my barn that the insurance company made me take out, but I mean, I understand the reasoning behind like the food, safety laws and regulations. Mm-hmm. But like you said, like Michigan here, they price you out of even being a player in the game. We did a freezer license last year, selling pork and right from the farm, which it's a $200, almost $200 a year license fee. and a guy comes out and he looks at your freezer in your garage and, says, okay,
Yeah.
$192, please. So it just wasn't worth us continuing, because then you have to have it USDA processed. And again,
Yeah.
I understand the reasoning, but our custom exempt butcher here that's right in town, that's 5 minutes from us, I mean,
Right.
why can't we sell that meat legally?
Oh, preach.
Kyle and I've been through this a million times.
Yeah, and it's like, I'll agree with you to an extent. Like when you say I understand with an asterisk. Like I get it. I get why they're doing what they're doing and this, that, and the other. But then at the end of the day, I'm like, all right, we're also still people, and like, let people make their own decisions. And the stupid people will make the stupid decisions.
Yeah.
So stop holding back the smart people, or like the normal people, because of the idiots of the world.
And we've brought that across. Like, if you go to a farm or a farmer, buy his product and it makes you sick, 98% of people are probably not going back to that guy, and he's going to end up running his own business into the ground. It's not that shit. Like,
car in his front yard, don't buy milk from him. If there's more than one non-driving car,
yeah, I mean, I 100% agree. It should be a self-limiting, issue. Right. But if you have one person get sick and that one person sues you,
right? That's huge.
Yeah,
it's a major problem.
Yeah, so I see both sides of it, and like you said, if it wasn't so, if they, I don't think it was a big hassle for us to get that freezer license. It's just that fee, paying his gas bill and then $100 a visit to the farm. I don't know. It seems ridiculous.
Yeah, it's not at a certain point. It just gets to like the point of the matter. Like, it's just like, this is dumb. I'm not like, it's not even worth it for me to do this, because this is so stupid and I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah. And you really, we had success selling that meat at farmers market. So we would take coolers to the farmers market and we would sell $600 worth of pork on a Saturday. But, am I still? Yeah. Okay.
No, you're good.
Froze up there. But you had to waste a Saturday at the farmers market, and we didn't really market it here, selling it from the farm very well. So it was slow sales, and it's so much easier just selling a half or a whole animal.
It's so easy. Yeah.
And you get your money right away. So if any small operation starting out, do halves and
you don't have a chest freezer full of hocks and spare ribs.
Right.
Yeah. That, and if you are starting out, I highly, highly recommend taking deposits.
Oh,
I've been burned too many times. And then what do you do? Like, now that I own my own butcher shop, I pay the processing. I have a commercial size freezer in here. It's not that big of a deal. It sets a couple extra weeks while I find somebody to buy that. But when I was first starting out, I started with 2 pigs. The next year I went up to 6 pigs. The third year I had so much interest, I went up to like 11 feeder pigs. And then, 2 months before they went to the processor, I called, text everyone, just reminder, your pig's going. Yep, everybody still wanted it. 2 weeks before, some of those people I didn't hear back from. The week before, still didn't hear back. And then they're sitting at the processor, and all of a sudden, oh, we don't have the money. It's like, what am I going to do with 6 pigs? Like, one person backs out, I'll find space. Like, I was in panic mode. Luckily, I had other people that bought from my first batch, because I raised 2 separate. I had 2 separate butcher dates. So people that wanted more pork from that first date stepped up and bought. I got super lucky. But I told myself I'll never put myself in that position again. And I'll work with people. Like, I understand, like, hey, something happened financially, or hey, so-and-so passed away in my family, or we just don't have the freezer space. if they let me know ahead of time, I'll work with them. I'll hold on to it, take, but it was just so frustrating. And so I said, at least if I take that $200 or $250 deposit on that pig right from the get-go, I put that towards the feed. I'm not shoveling all the feed out of my pocket, and I'm not losing out if they back out at the end of it. So not completely losing out.
Just out of curiosity, what would you charge your customers for hanging weight? And did you charge processing separate?
So at that time, this was a few years ago, I was only charging $3 a pound, and I paid the processing.
Okay. Yeah.
So it really, wasn't that bad.
Yeah, because I think we had that conversation because I was paying because everything is on the same property, I charge for the pig and then charge for the processing separately. And it's I charge $5.50 a pound for my pork and then just regular processing fees. So it's again, and I get it. I get that people, especially new people getting into it, what you want is to get them hooked that first year and then have these people start rolling back because they get it. Newbies, when you're like, oh, by the way, your pig's done, that'll be $1,300. And it's for a pig?
Yeah.
What? And then I don't care who you are. I don't care if you've done this forever. When you open a freezer on a pig that costs $1,300 and you look at it, there is that little bit in the back of your head that just goes, I feel like I thought there'd be more. And it's yes and no. You don't always go to the store and buy 90 pounds of meat at once and bring it home. Right. You're going to pay that at the grocery store if you don't buy this pig. That's the difference. That's
one of the benefits of doing the YouTube stuff is, we make a video. How much does it cost to raise a pig? How much does it cost to process the pig? Whatever. So before a customer put down a deposit, we would send them a link to one of our videos and say, this is the breakdown of approximately what you'll get as far as a whole pig or a half a pig, whatever the video was, or a whole beef, half beef. So then they know going in, and then they say, well, this animal had a hanging weight of 220 pounds. So it's going to cost you, to us, $660 plus another $200 to $300 on processing, depending on what you have smoked and whatnot. So then they know going in and into it what they're going to get. And we found that to be really beneficial.
We actually talked about this earlier this year, what Rachel just commented, having a payment plan where they put a deposit down and then we offer they could pay so much a month up to a certain amount, raising the animals, roughly how much your animals are going to weigh. So you can kind of have a cutoff so you're not owing them money at the end of it, but at least a majority of their bills paid. It gives me a sense of security that way too, because I can just keep putting that into the feed that's not coming out of the farm account or my pocket. But there's that extra legwork on keeping track. Okay, I need some kind of tracking system. This person has paid this much on these dates, and giving them a receipt every time they make a payment as a business aspect. Just so if they come back and say, well, I thought I paid this much. You have a copy of the receipt. They have a copy of the receipt. There's no mix-ups, because over a 7-month, 8-month period of raising that pork, or 2-year period on that beef, if it's not wrote down and receipts are given, there very well could be mix-ups. People are on the farmer end or the person's end, if they're not good at record keeping for what they're paying. I mean, and I'm one of those people. I suck at keeping receipts. And the butcher shop's one thing. We've got a routine down. I keep, when we're buying stuff. But the farm stuff, I'm so far behind on putting receipts in my book and keeping up on that. It's going to take me a week to get it straightened out.
Oh, it's not going to be good for us. We just have a shelf that has a little cubby in it that it's just out of the pocket. into the cubby, out of the pocket, into the cubby. And then like a month before tax season, we have to sit there and just go, oh, Jesus.
I've found anything like over 6 pigs. You really need to stay on top of it. Just like customer wise, if you're doing access to 12 people, you have to, get deposits from or contact and explain to them, I'm taking the pig to the butcher on Friday and they're going to call you. So be aware for, that call, they're going to go through a cut sheet with you. And then when the pigs are done processing, I call them again and say, hey, your pig's done. Do you want me to pick it up for you? Cause I'm heading 45 minutes, to the butcher or whatever. I'll get it for you. So I found getting away from the pigs and just doing a few beef a year. It's going to be a lot less stressful on me.
Well, I did the same thing. Like I finally got all the piglets weaned and like they're all in their own separate pens. So now I'm just in piglet selling mode, which is not going as speedy as I was hoping it was going to go. But I'm only keeping.
It's that time of year.
I know it sucks. But I plan on only keeping 5. Even if I have to drop the price, I just want to get these things gone at this point. I'm like, I'm done. I want to be down to 8 pigs. I want 8 total pigs on the farm. That is it. But it's like, also I'm selling like, just for that little like cherry on top. It's like, if you buy a piglet, I guarantee you a processing date. Like I guarantee you don't have to worry about it. It is guaranteed this pig will come in on this day. Like hoping that sweetens the pot a little bit as well, which for most people it does. Like I'm so spoiled in the fact that I do all my own stuff and just have the shop right here. That's like, oh, I'll get that pig in there. That's fine. Most people don't have that luxury. They're like, oh God, I'm either going to have to bring this pig in tomorrow or 6 months from now. Like that's how it's looking for most people. So
speaking about pigs that you raise and process, I just did 2 that were born in February for my sows.
That's right.
They turned out freaking nice.
I was like, oh no. You were talking about that on the last show.
Yeah. No, they turned out fantastic. Like they're 6 months old. They were 6 months old. 190 something hang weight and a 205 hang weight. They were born in February, and I just brought. No, they didn't have Mangalitsa blood. These are out of my blue butt sows.
Blue butts, that's right.
Yeah. I just did 2 more out of my blue butt sows, and then I did the Mangalitsa's. They were smaller, not too much smaller, but they were like 10, 11 months old. Way better than my previous litters, but I was actually really impressed by these pigs. They turned out beautiful, perfect fat cover. More of a commercial style hog. I just wasn't expecting like literally 6-month-old pigs to hang at almost right at 200 pounds.
That's nice.
That's awesome.
So
did you?
And then these guys are picking on me in the comments.
Do you think Mangalitsa bacon is probably the best bacon I've ever had? We had some when we first started. It was just melt in your mouth, that fat. It was so delicious.
That's why I'm stuck. That's why I'm stuck in the predicament I'm in. I've said this litter is my final test litter. If I don't get the weights I want in the time I want, Red will live out his life in the field and have a fantastic life, and we're bringing in a Hereford boar, and I'm just doing straight Herefords. But the quality is so goddamn good that I just can't get over it. I can't get it out of my head of just like, no, this is going to be a thing. People are going to eat this and then buy more of it. I promise you.
Well, and we ended up switching all to Hereford.
Right.
At the end.
Also good choice.
Yeah. And like I said, we did blue butts. We had Mangalitsa. We had Tamworths, Berkshires. And we found that the Hereford was best overall as far as
amazing
pork chop, to ham to bacon. It was just the best overall.
Now for your purebred Herefords that you guys were doing, or close to purebred, what was hang weights in a certain amount of time frame?
So the last group, and actually I found that I prefer raising the feeders over winter here, just because this keeps the stink down.
They don't go very far when they get out either, because they want to stay next to the food and where it's warm.
But they averaged about 220 hanging weight up 7 months.
That's like, that's right there.
That's right around what I was doing. Hey, Aaron, this is not Jurassic Park. It's all going to be all right. Aaron over at Farming Eating, make sure your feed lysine levels are adequate. I know he's actually being very serious, but I saw it and I was like, I can't not make that joke. I love the Herefords so much. Their quality is amazing because we've only really done Herefords. And I think this happens with all the first generation farmers is we all go through this mind frame of we can get whatever we want. Like, we have money. We can just go buy things. Like, we can buy all these crazy things we see on the internet and then realize why people don't buy those things. But even still, it's like we have to go through those growing pains of buying all this random shit and see if it works. Unfortunately, it's not like buying a tool and being like, this seems like it's going to work. Actually, I didn't end up using it for 6 months. I guess I'll just resell it. It's like, no. You're going to buy this. You're going to raise it for 6-7 months or possibly 16. And then be like, guess that didn't work.
And the worst part about it is all the money you had when you could have started with the right genetics, you've blown through and you're sitting there like looking at your bank account, looking at the pigs that are still got 4 or 5 months to go to finish. And you're like, this is not what I was, in my big dreams, this is not what I had planned.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you could probably go 4 months back in the podcast and see me have that mental breakdown right here on Meet the Critters.
Yeah.
Our biggest thing with like the Mangalites, ours weren't purebred. They had some old spot in them, so they did grow a little bit faster. But those sows were just mean SOBs. I mean,
yeah, they were.
You didn't want to get in the pen with them and pulling piglets to castrate. Oh my gosh! Actually, the meanest one I've ever had, one of my Tamworth sows. There's a video clip that I put on TikTok of this sow. She jumped over these 2x4s that I had in their little shed, came right after me when I grabbed one of her piglets.
I think I saw that one.
Yeah, I had a video on YouTube. I might have unlisted it, but I kind of went through recently and took down some old stuff.
Yeah. Well, Mike, this was absolutely fantastic, and we stayed on topic pretty much the whole thing. We had a couple tangents in there.
Yeah.
Again, I warned Mike before he came on. I was like, listen, we're going to try to get at least 20 minutes of good quality farm content. And after that 20 minutes, God only knows what happens. We stayed on pretty good. I'm pretty proud of us.
The bad part is we didn't even touch, there's probably so much more we could talk to Mike about.
Mike
we didn't talk about bees.
Coming back on again. We will get Mike back on again, and we will do a Mike part 2.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think that's the best thing about podcasts like this, where it is like, yes, our overarching scale is, or like boundaries are butchering and farming. That's what we have people on to talk about.
Yeah,
but at the root of it, we're having people on to talk about butchering and farming, and they're the people that are butchers and farmers, which we are as well. And we all have pretty much the same sense of humor, and we can all pretty guarantee have some crazy stories that we're all going to get into. So it's like, yes, we will be somewhat educational, but I also want it to be like a hangout. Like, we're all just hanging out, having fun. Like, we're talking about shit, and God only knows if it has to do with farming.
Well, I got lots of stories, so have me on any.
Oh, we'll have to have Mike on for a Backwoods episode. So
yeah,
the Backwoods episodes are where it's like we have zero plan to keep this on the rails. We're just putting a rock on the throttle and jumping out of the driver's seat, and we're going to see what happens. So we'll have you on for one of those. We really haven't done one of those in a while. We were going to have one with Brian, and then his internet died. So then we had to talk about pigs. So we will absolutely have a Backwoods episode coming up soon. Those are always fun because we'll usually try to get a handful of people in here. So it's just absolute chaos.
Sounds like a TikTok live.
Yeah, we haven't done any of that in a while.
We'll get it on the docket. We'll get it on the docket for sure. We'll pull some people up. Mike, where can everyone find you?
I'm on YouTube, Sweetbriar Farm, Facebook, Sweetbriar Farm, and TikTok, Sweetbriar Farm. You can search that, and the YouTube stuff's the more educational stuff. There's some funny stuff on there too. I post a lot of the same shorts that I do on TikTok, but yeah, TikTok is where I go to be unregulated by my wife and make goofy videos. So, and Facebook has been always been like our more professional business marketing, but this past winter we started putting our silly videos up there, and that platform's actually grown the most. But Zuckerberg's got me restricted in monetization, so he owes me $500. He won't pay it.
Just go up to the door with a bottle of Sweet Baby Ray's. You'll probably get it. Just sweet talk him. Joseph.
Every week now, Sunday nights here at Meet. Yeah, Sunday nights. It's still weird. I mean, it's actually been turning out pretty good on Sundays, but weekly here on Sunday nights, Meet the Critters with Kyle. YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook. I haven't done a lot with Facebook lately at Blakesley Acres, and Telegram group, Critter Crew, and the best way to contact me is the email. Usually it pops right up my phone. I can get right back to people.
Fantastic. And I will give my plugs, but I also want to plug, I finally have my promo code for Self-Reliance Festival. So for those who don't know what Self-Reliance Festival is, it's a fantastic festival down in Camden, Tennessee at the SOE Tactical Warehouse. There's everybody. There's homesteaders. There's obviously tactical equipment, but there's also a bunch of classes, a bunch of speeches, tons of people talking. Toolman Tim's going to be there. Obviously, John Willis, Nicole Sauce. It's going to be a wild year this year. So my promo code is actually in there. Yes, today I do. I finally got you the actual one. Don't give me a hard time on my own podcasts. You're not my wife. Calm down. So the link to that is in the description. If you guys are interested in checking out Self-Reliance Festival, click on that, check it out, see if it's something you're interested in. And if you do end up wanting to go, if you buy tickets through that link, I get a little bit of a commission off of it. So if you could do that, that would be absolutely fantastic. Everything else at Backwoods Butcher 603, that is YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. So I appreciate it, folks. Follow, like, share, subscribe, all of it. We appreciate you. We love you. And I should have told you this before, Mike. Don't X out right away, because every guest does. Every guest just goes leave stream when I end it, and then all of a sudden me and Joe are just sitting here like, well, we forgot to tell them again.
Every time,
literally every single time. All right, folks, we appreciate you, and we will see you next time.